On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be having a look at the DC Direct Arkham Asylum Series 2. We're going to be looking at Zsasz. This guy I could probably clarify and class as the peg warmer of this wave. Of all the times I've gone looking for these figures, Zsasz usually is always the figure that's left behind. Could stem from the fact that unless you're, I guess, a real, well, I mean, if you've played the game you would know Zsasz, but I guess unless you're a big Batman fan, some fans going in who just like Batman and the standard Batman rogues may not know Zsasz, and therefore this guy just sits. That being said, packaging, we have the standard Batman Arkham Asylum packaging with the moon and everything else in the background. The logo down below, I always love that logo. And of course Zsasz in packaging. On the back of the package, the other figures you can get in this wave, we've got Bane, we've got Armored Batman, we've got Zsasz, and Poison Ivy. There's a read-up down below, although it references only to the game, so I won't bother reading that. But that's packaging. Pretty simple enough. It's packaging on Zsasz. What we're going to do is get this opened up, and we will have ourselves a look at the figure. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. And I've currently got Zsasz sitting on his display stand for one reason and one reason alone. And it's because oh, sure, now he does it. I was going to say because he didn't want to stand very well on the set here. Mentioning the display stand, the basic black display stand that you would come to expect with all the other Batman figures, you'll also get with Zsasz here. Very basic, very simple. Although I will defend the stands in the sense that if you have other figures that you want stands for, and they never came with stands, at least you can put this down, you put your figure on top. So if you have a God of War figure, as an example, and it fits this peg, you could put the figure on there, and you don't have to worry about it saying Batman, and somebody coming into your house and say, hey, that stand didn't come with Kratos, and you could say, get out of my house. So at least some credit could be given for the fact that these are very black, very generic display stands. Putting that aside, Zsasz also comes with two blades, as you would think he would, due to the nature of the kind of person that he is. He does come with two knives. Oh, see, there he goes. Aha, see? He fell. He comes with two knives. You can take the knives and put them into his hand. I don't think there's a specific knife to hand that you have to match up. I think you can probably use either knife. Of course, as Spot says that he can't seem to get the one knife in his hand. Let's try the other knife. Unfortunately, his problem is that his wrists are on a swivel and they want to continue to move as I'm trying to get the blades in his hand. You know what, we'll try to get the other blade in. A lot of times with these you have to kind of force the fingers open. They're more of a pliable plastic than the rest of the figure. Sometimes you have to kind of just pry the fingers open to get the knife in. And then you have one knife. Will you even get the other knife in, Spot? We don't need to make this into a 40-minute review. As you can see, my biggest problem is this hand continues to want to swivel as I'm trying to finagle the blade in. But I don't get defeated. And just like that, we've got Zsasz with both blades. Zoom out. All that effort to put the blades in. Has it helped the figure at all? Really not so much for me. Let's maybe zoom into the head. Why not? Let's zoom into the head of Zsasz. He's definitely a very angry fellow. Anyone new to the Batman universe, come on in. Zsasz is a killer known for keeping a tally, as it were, of all his victims. So every time he kills somebody, he puts a little tally, not on paper. Apparently he doesn't have paper, so he puts it on his body. You can see the tally marks all on the chest here, all on his shoulders, some on his back. Now you would wonder, I've tried reaching around my back. I don't know if would you be able to get tallies on your back like that? Is this a question I really even should be asking? Does anyone even really care? I care. I'm curious to know how you could get a tally there with your own knife, trying to reach around. Maybe get somebody else to do it for him. You could say, hey, I just killed somebody. Can you put a tally on me? No, just like a mark. No, you don't have to do a check mark, just like a little... One thing can be said for the figure is that the paint is nice. He's got this flesh color. It's complemented with the orange and then kind of a reddish color as well. And I think between the two, it works well on the figure. And then he's got these chains going on here from the sides. He's got all these padlocks all over him. I think it works really, really well. I'm not a huge fan of this figure. I'm going to level with you guys. I'm not a huge fan of this figure. One thing, I really don't care a lot about Zsasz. I mean, I've never really liked Zsasz all that much. The fact that he's also pre-sculpted, which it kind of bothers me a bit too. He's always got these bent legs. I can accept it, I think, a little bit more with the Scarecrow figure. The Scarecrow figure had kind of that same plaguing issue, but I think it worked better on him than it does with Zsasz here. And you can see there's sections too where the strapping has come loose. It's not completely attached to the legging of the shorts that he's got going on here. In the way of Zsasz's articulation, he has, it looks to be a ball joint. Yes, it is a ball joint. Rest assured, any ball joint fans out there, there is a ball joint on his head. There's also a swivel in his shoulder, a swivel in his forearm, no bend in the elbow, as mentioned, a swivel in the wrist. He's got a swivel in the waist. It's tight, but it seems to be there. A swivel in the leg, and that's it. Oh, also, I'm a liar. Spot, come on. There's also a swivel in the upper leg as well. Doesn't really help the fact because, again, he's got this pre-sculpted pose to him. I like it a little bit, I think I like it more having the legs a little further back. It's giving him a little bit extra lift to the figure versus having him crunched forward. Now, to give him a scale comparison, I bring in Batman, and yes, it is pretty apparent that, pardon my fingers, it is pretty apparent that Zsasz, being that he is crouched, certainly has a height problem versus the Batman figure. Moving Batman aside here. I don't know, the figure is just alright. I'll level with you, had I not bought the set off Big Bad Toy Store, I probably would not have picked this figure up at all. I mean, it's just an alright figure, but nothing for me spectacular. The fact that it's a B-list, a C-list villain, and the fact that it's pre-sculpted, for me, adds up to a figure that you can easily pass on. Unless you really like Zsasz. I don't know, maybe that's your thing. But Zsasz, I'm gonna give him a 5. A 5 for Zsasz. Love him or hate him, bought the figure or not, I don't know. This for me is just a bit of a pass if you guys ask this fella right here. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the DC Direct Batman Arkham Asylum Zsasz. He's just alright. Thanks for watching, guys. As you always do, stay tuned for more spots on the way, and I'll see you guys next time.